You've touched on it already, but obviously you were managing the Libertines, and I read everyone kept telling you that you were the man for the job and that you weren't too sure about it.
Do you know what? I don't even know if I ever should have done it, but I sort of did do it, so I suppose I've just got to embrace it. But, you know, even now I'm like, should I have really done that? You know what I mean? I was having quite a nice time up to I met the Libertines. Big band, though, but fucking maniacs, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the stories about that second album sound mad, that you had to hire 2 bouncers to separate them and stuff.
Did you meet them? Tom, did you ever meet the 2 bouncers? The big dudes for
I did. Yeah, they were brothers. Were the brothers?
Yeah.
The twins. Were the twins?
I'm mates with them still. These guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were proper. Man. They were proper nice guys. Them as well.
Oh, they were good guys. Them. They're punks. Yeah. I mean, they're as much as like they're 6'6", fucking, you know, like beyond hard guys. Do you know what I mean? They're like fucking fellas, really. But you know, they were punk rockers. You know, they're Crass fans. These guys.
Yeah, they were good lads. I like them. Big guys as well.
Yeah, mad guys.
So yeah, tell us about that then. So what?
How did we get them? I didn't really get them. I mean, it was like everybody thinks it was me. It was a guy I was partners with, Stephen, that he knew them. But it was a good call because it was like Libertines were just so fucking mental that, you know, you did have to have proper security around them. Do you know what I mean?
I also saw that you said one of your only big true regrets was not being able to get the best out of Pete Doherty. Is that something that you still feel?
I mean, that's just me. I mean, I just don't think. I mean, early Libertines records are brilliant. You know, Bust 2 records, but you know, I mean, I think he's an amazing talent. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, he just sort of didn't really pay attention with the partying aspect to it. But I think the guy's immensely talented. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
I didn't actually want to do it. I didn't want to manage them. And as you can tell, I'm still going, I wonder if I should have done it. But it's like, I definitely didn't want to in the beginning. And then I heard that What Katie Did, that song, is a demo. And it was a Baby Shambles demo. And that was a song that kind of interested me. Because initially, when he contacted me, it was Peter that initially contacted me and phoned me up and said, do you want to manage the Baby Shambles? And the Baby Shambles hadn't even played a gig at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, do you know what? I think we got a hell of a lot out of Pete, especially with the Baby Shambles stuff as well, because that for me was as good as Libertines in a way. Like, obviously the first Libertines record was like phenomenal, and it kind of, you know, that was like one of my favourite things to, you know, it was one of the first albums to get me really excited, apart from Is This It, when the Strokes brought that out. But, you know, when the Libertines split or whatever, and they had the period where they were separated and Shambles were in, like, Shambles were just amazing, just as good, I thought, like, a bit different and like more, you know, it was just, obviously it was just Pete, but yeah, I thought like Pete brought a lot of stuff out, and thought, what else did you get out of him? What else did you want?
I think that record, Fuck Forever, is one of the great rock and roll records. It's as good as anything that anybody's done. Do you know what I mean? And that's as good as when Nirvana were on. When Nirvana were fucking good, weren't they? It was as good as a Nirvana song or something like that. That song was incredible. So I think you're actually right. I think, you know what, he has done a lot of good stuff. I just, something in Doherty, I just thought that there was a massive album in him. But I think just the partying aspect, do you know what I mean? I think it probably sent it left at the lights.
I also read, Alan, that like you were the one to give Pete the news of that he was going to go to prison. Like you said, you were the first person to tell him that. Did you feel like a responsibility to be, you know, the honest bloke with him who was going to tell him straight, kind of thing?
But I had nothing to lose when I told him that, because I wasn't his manager. And Rough Trade had sent me down to meet him at his sister's place, and in Catford. And he'd missed 3 meetings with the probation officer. And I've never been to prison, but I know enough to know that if you don't meet the probation officer 3 times, you're probably going to go down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said to him, I think you're going to go down, dude. And he went, I don't fucking care. And he obviously didn't, you know, because he went down, you know.
And there's obviously that mad story about where you had them over to your house and Carl ended up having a fight with a sink.
Oh yeah, that was fucking mental. But how I'll tell you how I broke the band. It's a bit of a convoluted story, but I didn't actually want to manage them. Went to see the Baby Shambles. Went to America, and they'd fallen out because Peter had burgled Carol Barat's flat, and I was in America working with Joaquin Phoenix at the time, who was pretty big, but he wasn't as big as he is now, which is like arguably the biggest actor. But he was big, and he'd done Walk the Line, and I was doing music with him and Anthony Langdon. And we were in the studio in New York, and I got a call to come back, and Rough Trade wanted me to manage Peter, manage the Libertines. And I was James Endicott, and I was going, no, I don't want to do it. And I ended up coming back. Peter got out, blah, blah, blah. And I got back about a week later, and I went to where did I go? I went to the Landmark Hotel, and they were like, they just charmed me, guys. I mean, I didn't actually really want to do it, but they were so charming that I ended up being the manager, and I went to Wales on the first day that I managed them. I took them on down there, and it was lovely and everything, but they were that kind of pissed off with each other, and it was like, but it was still a nice kind of time. We were getting them together, and then about 4 nights in, I just went to bed. I think it was a Wednesday night, and then I woke up, and there was I saw somebody was coming down the stairs at 10 in the morning. I was on the phone to the creation office and the management office. And I turned round out of peripheral vision to my right, and Carol Barat. It looked as if he put like a red sauce over his head, except his eye was hanging out, and on the optical nerve. And I was a bit freaked out. It was fucking twitching, and I went and got a baby wipe and they pushed Carol Barat's eye back into his head and held it. And I ended up going down to a hospital, and then at Brecon, and they said, this is too serious. He's going to lose his eye. You've got to go to Hereford Hospital. And I trekked all the way over another 30, 40 miles to Hereford Hospital to the eye people. And eventually got into, after about an hour, got in to see the surgeon. And then they looked at me and Carol Barat, and they said to me, what have you done to your boyfriend? And I was like, he's not my boyfriend, I'm his manager. Carol luckily went, he is only my manager, we're all right. And we saved his eye. And this is me managing the band for 3 days. And then unbeknownst to me, we didn't find it out for about another 24 hours. They'd sewn the eye in the wrong way. It wasn't perfectly put back in. So I then had to take him to hospital in London, the Portland Hospital, and it cost me $8,000 to get Carol's eye sorted out and put back in properly. And that was the beginning of me and the Libertines. And when I started managing them, I also put 3 town and country clubs on sale, because I knew on that libertines.org website, there was probably, I thought, 5,000 to 10,000 absolute lunatic fans like you, Tom, basically, who would travel to the town and country club and probably buy all three nights of tickets, because this was the most celebrated underground band in Britain. So I'd done that, and we sold 6,000 tickets, and that was 3 sold out town and countries, which was fucking great, because they'd never played anywhere at that point bigger than, I'm told, the ICA. Do you know what I mean? So we'd done the 3 shows. We'd not put any music out, and I immediately put, for the beginning of April, this was in December, and I just sold 3 Libertines in town and country. I put 3 Brixton Academies on sale, and at that point, Rough Trade were just going, "You're a fucking maniac, right? You're going to fall on your face." On the Friday that the gig started, we sold the final ticket for the Sunday night, And we had 3 sold-out Brixton Academy shows. And then my next move was we took Can't Stand Me Now to radio, and we got on the list, and that was it. Because basically it was smoke and mirrors. I don't think there was more than 15,000 Libertines fans when we sold out the 15,000 tickets. Every fan bought a fucking ticket. And then it looked massive, and then radio went there, and then we sold 1 million records. You know what I mean? The rest is history. They became big.
I also read, like, when you said you booked those Brixton gigs, that you're having trouble trying to convince Pete not to put on any guerrilla gigs, and that you put one on the same week, did he, or something?
That's true. He used to do it for the crack money. He used to do guerrilla gigs. Do you remember, Tom? Fivers, tenors on the door.
Yeah, we played it, a couple of them.
Right, and tenors at the photo booth at the station wherever he fucking lived in Hackney, right? I mean, it was, and you know when I got him the flat, when I took over the band, I knew that he was doing these guerrilla gigs, so I got him literally the smallest flat I could find him. I got him it, and he still put fucking gigs on.
People climbing through the windows and that.
Yeah. It was fucking insane, you know what I mean? But anyway, him and Carol, they were, you know, they'd sold 15,000 tickets. They were quite impressed with themselves, right? And Carol was just going along with it, because I don't think Carol was particularly about the guerrilla gigs. He just was going along with Peter, right? And they done a guerrilla gig on the Tuesday before the Friday, right? And Carol came back depressed to me. I went, "What's wrong?" And he went, "We only sold 6 tickets." And it was like a fucking Tuesday. And I said, "Who showed up?" And he went, "Japanese tourists. 6 Japanese tourists showed up to Peter's flat." And they were both pissed off. They never got the money for whatever, you know.
That is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the thing about life is it's always more ridiculous. The truth is always more ridiculous than anything. Do you know what I mean? And especially the Libertines. I mean, only the Libertines could do a guerrilla gig on a Tuesday lunchtime before the 15,000 tickets at the weekend and get 6 people. That's fucking mental.
You also said, Alan, that you got on to have like a good relationship with Carl, and that you felt like you had a bit of a loyalty to him after the Libertines. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, we just got on. We still get on. Do you know what I mean? You know, and he's a good guy. I think, though, to be honest, guys, the fact I saved his eye, I think me and him are always going to be fucking down with each other. Do you know what I mean? Because it was beyond the Call of Duty that time. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, I saved the eye. And then when it was wrong, I paid for the fucking eye to go back in the head properly. So I think me and him are always going to be all right with each other. You know what I mean?